Good evening, East Alabama and West Georgia. Dr. Don in here with you on your Friday evening, March 31st, 2023, as we look at the possibility of another round of severe weather. It has already been a horrible day across Arkansas up into portions of Tennessee, Illinois, Iowa. It's just been tragic. We have already seen, I think the last count I saw was 38 confirmed tornadoes this afternoon. There is massive, widespread damage all across that area. We are receiving reports of injuries and fatalities. It's just devastating to see the tornado damage that has taken place this afternoon and early this evening across the Midwest and now approaching the southeastern United States. So I know that a lot of you have been watching television. You've been watching this on the Weather Channel. You've been seeing it on the nation's news networks and on your local news. And I've been receiving a lot of questions tonight as to whether or not we'll see the same type of weather across Alabama and Georgia. So I wanted to jump in here tonight and give you the latest thinking, what we know now, what's going on now, and what we think is going to happen as we head forward. As you see there on the map, a very large, unusually large area of enhanced risk and moderate risk of severe weather stretching all the way from Wisconsin all the way back to Texas, actually. And we have seen that this afternoon. I mean, at one time, I think we had like 10 tornado warnings going at one time, stretching from Wisconsin all the way back to almost to Texas. And of those 10 warnings we had out there at one time, there was like 5 or 6 that were tornado emergencies all at the same time. And you don't typically see that large of an area having that kind of weather all at one time. But that's what we've seen this afternoon. Storm Prediction Center put that word out yesterday that this might happen, and it unfortunately has taken place. So the short answer to your question, are we going to deal with this in Alabama and Georgia, is I don't think so. But as we head into the overnight hours, we are going to have to pay attention to things. And I want to show you a couple of products. Of course, you see the Storm Prediction Center Convective Outlook there. Then I want to show you the latest from the National Weather Service out of Birmingham. This is the thinking of where the severe weather risk will be at their greatest across Alabama and the timing. Right now, we think the highest risk of severe weather will be across northwest Alabama, stretching pretty close to the Birmingham-Tuscaloosa area. And then we'll have an area across north central Alabama that will have a slight risk of severe weather. And then the remainder of central, east, and southern Alabama will be in that marginal risk, marginal being the 1 out of 5, marginal being the smallest risk of severe weather or the least risk for severe weather, but it's not zero. Obviously, you don't want to be up there in the enhanced, moderate, or high, and we don't have that. Even the slight risk category can often produce severe weather, and sometimes we see it happen with marginal, but that is the least of the risk of the 5 different risk categories. And then the timing. We're thinking well after midnight, probably toward 2 or 3 a.m. tomorrow morning, and that line will slowly work its way through East Alabama between 3 a.m. and 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. So we have about a 6-hour window there where these storms will be moving through. That doesn't mean that it's going to storm that entire time. That just means that's the window of opportunity to see strong to marginally severe storms across East Alabama and West Georgia. Do we expect to see what we have seen already today back up across Arkansas, Illinois, and Iowa? Absolutely not. I don't think we're going to see violent, long-lived tornadoes across East Alabama and West Georgia. Could there be a quick spin-up tornado? Yes, there could be. That risk is low, but it's not zero. when this line of storms moves through the area a little later on this evening or first part of tomorrow morning. So let's go ahead and take you over to the Southern Union State Community College Live Doppler HD radar. Going to show you what's going on, and let me just zoom out and show you the big picture. And again, those storms stretch literally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, all the way back to almost Houston, Texas. Not uncommon to have a trailing cold front with thunderstorms and thunder showers all along that trailing cold front. The center of low pressure is way up there just west of Milwaukee. So the setup is not that unusual. What is unusual is that we have so many areas seeing damaging, violent tornadoes tonight. But over the last probably hour or so, we've seen a little bit of a decrease with the storms as they move east. In other words, we've been watching around the Memphis, Tennessee area all afternoon, and they have had one tornado after another. But as the storms, it appears as the storms move further east up toward Nashville, they're maybe running into some cooler air or they're losing some of their intensity. We've been noticing that trend now for several hours, and we think that's exactly what's going to happen when the storms move into and out of central Alabama over into east Alabama. The timing, the time of day when they're going to be coming through is going to work in our favor. And it's already happening as the line of storms moves east, and the later we get into the night or the early part of tomorrow morning, the more that effect is going to be prominent. So our best, I don't want to say guess, but our best somewhere between guess and educated analogy here is that these storms should be weakening as they move out of central Alabama into east Alabama and west Georgia. But if you have friends and family that live up there in northwest Alabama, even west Alabama, down to about the I-20 corridor, make sure they know what's happening up there around Memphis. Those particular storms are going to move up into Tennessee, but you can see that we're watching more storms form back to the southwest, and those would be the storms that eventually will work into northwest Alabama and west Alabama around midnight tonight. And we're still watching what's happening over here in Louisiana because that's what will eventually work its way over into central Alabama and maybe eventually east Alabama. So we look up here southwest of Jonesboro. I don't know. Let's see. You see the storms here near Huntsville. This is over in, this is in Texas. These are the storms that'll end up making it through east Alabama, we think by 3 or 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. And you can see that, yes, we have some severe thunderstorm warnings. We do not have any tornado warnings. Have not seen a tornado warning in this part of Texas or up into northern Louisiana this evening. It's all been severe thunderstorm warnings. So that's a good sign. As we see those storms forming there just south of Shreveport, right along I-20. Again, very, very active weather further north up here around Memphis. But as these storms move on into central Tennessee, they seem to be calming down. We've noticed the same thing even with the northern part of the line. We've got multiple tornado warnings up there now, just west, southwest, and northwest of Louisville, Kentucky. But we're not seeing, the only place where we're really seeing a big, huge concentration of tornado warnings is going to be on the very end, northern end of this, up there north of Indianapolis, just to the east of Gary, Indiana. A real stormy night up there on the south end of the Great Lakes. So let's go back over here to Memphis, and let me take you a little bit closer so I can show you what's happening here. At this hour, we have two tornado warnings. And then we have a severe thunderstorm warning just south of Pine Bluff. So we'll look at this first one here. For those of you that may have relatives up here in this area, this is a tornado warning that's in effect for southern Hardeman and southwestern McNairy counties. Confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado was located about 10 miles south of Valverde moving to the east at around 45 miles per hour. That's the kind of warnings we've been seeing today from the National Weather Service. They have either been tornado warnings with a tornado emergency, or they have been tagged with catastrophic damage in the warning. It's just been a really, really bad afternoon all across the Midwest, and now moving into the southeastern United States. So you'll see here that this particular tornado probably will move between Murfreesboro and Chattanooga if it holds together, probably crossing over I-24, about halfway between Chattanooga and Murfreesboro. If that storm does hold together, it's a long way away from I-24 right now. And then you have another storm coming up just north of West Helena that's probably going to clip the southern end of the city of Memphis. And that's another dangerous tornado set up there. As then we look back down around Pine Bluff, we have a severe thunderstorm warning there. That could go tornadic. The area right around Memphis is in a very high-risk category for tornadoes this evening. Thankfully, that doesn't stretch very far down to the south, so we're hoping that we keep that kind of weather out of Alabama. So that's just kind of where we are right now. Of course, we will be here with you throughout the night, and we'll continue to bring you severe weather information as we get it from the National Weather Service. We'll certainly go live if there is a reason to when these storms get a little bit closer to East Alabama and West Georgia. And that's going to be very windy too, folks, even away from thunderstorms. We're going to be kind of caught in a pressure gradient, so winds could gust as much as 40 miles per hour at times, even away from those thunderstorms. So let me go over here to the chat room and see if we have any questions over here that I need to answer. If you guys have questions, now's the time to do it. We welcome Rock Mills in the house. Let's see here. Roanoke is watching us this evening with Dowie. Hey, Dan, good to see you. Beverly Pike. Let's see what we got here. Deborah Brown is watching us. Tin Shop is in the hood. Good to see you, Tin Shop. There's Faye. Jamie Dukas in the house. Thank you, Jamie Dukas. And folks like Jamie Dukas, if it were not for them, we could not continue to do this. So be sure that you support those who support Dr. Don's Weather. And Jamie is one of our huge supporters, been with us for quite some time. He does a lot of work behind the scenes you guys don't even know about to help us out here at Dr. Don's Weather, and we greatly appreciate Jamie Dukas. And if you're in the market for insurance, that's who you need to contact. Jamie's already shared multiple success stories with me from Dr. Don viewers who have gotten in touch with him and saved a ton of money on their insurance. And Jamie's just a cool dude from Woodland, Alabama. He can help you out with the insurance. So be sure y'all get in touch with him. Emily's watching us in Valley, Alabama this evening. There's Robert. Tammy Farr, Miss Rock, hanging out up on the telephone pole in Rock Mills this evening. Richie Burke. There's Paige Mitchell. Hey, Paige, good to have you in here with us tonight. Rosemary is in Noonan. Amy's watching us up in Woodland. There's Sherry, Debbie. Debbie's in Pine Mountain. Shirley's watching us over there in Lineville, Alabama, in Clay County. Valley, same thing. I mean, we can't tell you exactly what's going to happen, but all across East Alabama and West Georgia right now, it looks like these storms will be weakening as they move into Alabama. Of course, we're going to watch that. But with the timing of the storms coming through in the coolest part of the overnight and the fact that the further east these storms move, the further away from the main low-pressure system, where the best energy is, these storms will get further and further away from that, so they will become somewhat detached. So they should start losing some of their intensity as they get, at least by the time they get into central Alabama. Oh, my. Let's see if we can fix that. But again, we're going to watch this very closely for you, and we will be here if we need to. We'll come right back on, and we'll stay with you during the entire event. Hey, Letitia. Yes, I can show the timing for you again. We'll go back up here, and there it is right there. We're looking at across East Alabama and West Georgia. You know, we could see a shower anytime after midnight, but the window of opportunity for strong to marginally severe would be from 3 a.m. through 9 a.m. That would be Central Time, be 4 to 10 over in the Eastern Time Zone. If you're up there in Northwest Alabama, between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m., Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, midnight and 5 a.m., anywhere from Demopolis to Wedowee, between 3 a.m. and 9 a.m., and then down there in the Auburn-Opelika Valley, West Point area, between 7 a.m. and noon tomorrow morning. So I know you folks over there in West Point, Georgia, don't need to be looking at this. Our hope is that these storms do weaken as they move in, and that's the forecast right now. But the risk is not zero, so that's why we've got to pay attention to this. You need to make sure that you have a good app downloaded on your phone, and when you go to bed, you turn your ringer up on your phone, your notifications are turned on so that if something does change during the middle of the night and we have warnings that are issued, you'll get that notification on your phone. Folks, I can't stress this enough, and I know I sound like a broken record, and I apologize for continuously repeating myself, but this is very important. I can't stress to you how important it is to understand that Facebook, the way their algorithm works, you may or may not get notification when we go live. It's just not conducive for severe weather events to rely on Facebook to notify you when Dr. Don goes live to give you severe weather information. If that's one of the methods that you use, then it's imperative that you go over to YouTube and that you subscribe to Dr. Don's Weather on YouTube and click the little bell. Now, YouTube uses what's called a push notification. It is instant. The second I hit stream, a notification is coming to your phone. Unlike Facebook, that's not the way it works. It may be hours, it may be days before you get notified on Facebook that we're live, and of course it's all over with by then. So I'm not suggesting that's your only solution. You need a good weather app on your phone, as well as subscribing to Dr. Don's Weather over on YouTube, and make sure you click that little bell. Of course, you know what else I'm going to say. You have to have a NOAA weather radio, too, and it has to be sitting on your nightstand right beside your bed, or in your tree house, in your camper, wherever it is you sleep. That's where your NOAA weather radio needs to be. Folks, they're $30-$35. It's the best $30-$35 you'll ever spend, and it will wake you at 2 a.m. in the morning. If you're like me, the phone may or may not wake you. Typically, notifications on my phone don't wake me up. But I promise you, you will not sleep through a NOAA weather radio. And you need to make sure you get one. I say this every single time we go into severe weather, but that thing can save your life. Because look, folks, surviving severe weather, there's one key element to surviving severe weather, and that is situational awareness. If you know what's going on around you, if you understand which way is north, south, east, and west, if you understand where you live on a map, and if you get that weather notification from the National Weather Service, then you can protect yourself. You can make sure that you get off of that second or third level in your home, and that you go to the lower level, the lowest level, basement if you have one, and you can make sure that you go to that center room on the lowest floor in your home or place of business. That's where you got to be. I can't tell you all these storms we're having. Watch the footage, and you'll see in a lot of these homes that are leveled, the center portion of that home is still at least intact enough to have a chance to survive a direct hit by a tornado. The second floor is gone, the third floor is gone, all of the outer walls are gone. There's really nothing left in a lot of cases except for that center part of that lowest floor. Now, I know some homes are completely wiped off their foundation. There's nothing left. I get it. You take a direct hit from a, F2, 3, or an F5 tornado, very little is going to withstand that. But zeros and ones and twos, which is what we see most of the time in the southeastern United States, are survivable if you know it's coming, if you take those precautionary measures and go to your safe place. It's the folks who have no idea what's happening around them typically. It's the folks that stay in mobile homes. It's the folks who are in their automobile going down to the corner store to pick up a soft drink and drive right into the tornado. It's people who, I'm watching live footage from storm chasers about 2 hours ago. I believe it was in Iowa. And here is this massive wedge, probably F4, if not F5 tornado crossing over a highway, and there are automobiles going in both directions like it's a beautiful sunny Sunday afternoon. I don't understand. That is so frustrating to me. Then people just driving right into the tornado. Number one, God gave you a brain to think with. Use it. Turn that radio on. Make sure you've got an app on your phone. Use your eyes and say, oh my, that doesn't look like something I need to drive into. Turn around, go the other way. I mean, okay, y'all got me off on my soapbox again. You get the idea, folks. If you understand what's going on, your odds of surviving severe weather increase tenfold. So you got to make sure that you've got a good app on your phone. You subscribe to us over on YouTube and get you a NOAA Weather Radio. Got to have it. Let's see here. Yes, Mike brings up a very good point. If you have a NOAA Weather Radio, the best idea, most definitely have the county to your west, the county to your south, southwest, west, northwest, and north programmed. In a lot of cases, that's only a couple of more counties. But a good idea is just to do all of the surrounding counties because occasionally, doesn't happen often, but occasionally we do get weather back out of the east. So like if I'll just use Randolph County, Alabama for an example, you're going to want to make sure that you also program it to alert for Cleburne, Clay, Tallapoosa, Chambers, Harris, Troop, and Carroll, and Randolph. That way you get warnings for Randolph and all the counties surrounding, which means if we have a tornado on the ground in let's say Talladega County, the second they issue the warning for Clay County, if it's moving in that direction, then you get woke up at 2 a.m. As it's coming across the Talladega Clay County line. So that's going to give you even more time to go to your safe place. You'll likely have 20 to 30 minutes. Let's say you're in Wedowee and you've got your weather radio set to go off for Clay County. Well, the second they issue the warning for Clay, you're going to get notified. You're going to know that this tornado is moving from west to east, and you're going to know that it's moving at 45 miles per hour, and you're going to know that it's about 35 or 40 miles away from you. So you've got about 45 minutes to an hour to get to your safe place. Do you see how that works? That's better than doing just Randolph. Let's say you live over there on the Randolph-Clay County line, and you've got just Randolph programmed in your radio. And so when the tornado gets over there around Lineville, they decide to pull the trigger on Randolph. Now you've only got 5 minutes to go to your safe place. So that's the idea behind programming it for your county and the counties that surround you. Great point, Mike. Thank you. We also have a brand new partner here on Dr. Don's Weather, Gray Hill Services, LLC, Mr. Anthony Arrington. He is installing storm shelters. A lot of folks are interested in storm shelters, and they're much more affordable than you think they would be. So you're going to want to give Anthony a call at 256-610-4680 and let him quote you a price on a storm shelter. I live on a big rock, but don't think I haven't considered trying to figure out a way to install one here where I'm at too. That's something everybody should look into. Yeah, Andrew's correct. You want to have that early warning as much as you possibly can. As a matter of fact, and this may be a little overkill, but the doctor likes to know things are happening and where they're happening. And I've got, let's see, I'm up here in northeast Georgia, and I think I have got all the way down to Forsyth County, which is the coming area. So, I mean, and that's typically the direction our storms come from. So if they issue a warning for coming Georgia, which is 45 minutes away from here all day long, it wakes me up. So I'm always up anyway when storms are coming, but you get the idea. I mean, you can go 2 tiers of counties around your home county. That increases your lead time even more. Good stuff. Again, if you're just joining us, I'm just giving you a little heads up on what we think is going to happen. I know that there has been a tremendous amount of media coverage this afternoon and this night, tonight, with all of the tornadoes up around Memphis, and they're ongoing at this hour. And then tornadoes even up further north, up into Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, up into Milwaukee, up in the Wisconsin area. It has just been Missouri. It has just been a stormy afternoon, and it was predicted. Storm Prediction Center put all this out yesterday. Actually started talking about it day before yesterday. So this should not be coming as any great surprise. I was hoping it wouldn't happen, but it is. And as I zoom out, you can see. Let me take the full picture here. I mean, we're talking severe weather basically from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, all the way to Houston, Texas. Folks, that's a long way. We've even got snow on the very north end of it up there in Minnesota. Just crazy weather. And then multiple tornado warnings. Before I started this live broadcast, I think the last count I saw was 38 confirmed tornadoes already this afternoon. And the warnings just keep on coming. Looking at Memphis right now, you can see all those storms around the Memphis area. Now, the line is very slow in sinking to the south and southeast, so it's going to take a minute. We're thinking probably after 2 or 3 a.m. tomorrow morning before this stuff gets into East Alabama and West Georgia. And the idea right now is that these storms will start to weaken as we approach midnight and get into the cooler hours of the early morning hours. These storms will start to weaken. And while the threat is not zero, we don't think we're looking at nearly the tornado threat across East Alabama and West Georgia as we're seeing up there around Memphis and to our points to the north. As a matter of fact, the good news that we're seeing here, the trend that we're watching, as these storms leave the Memphis area, they are weakening. We have seen multiple tornadic thunderstorms move through the Memphis area and pretty much follow I-40 either to the north or to the south toward Nashville, and every last one of them have weakened before they get to the Nashville area. Well, if you draw a line directly south down into Birmingham and Montgomery, then you would figure that as these storms come out of Mississippi into Alabama, as they cross over I-65, they should start to weaken, and even more so by that time, because we'll be, again, in an even more cooler environment than we're in right now. So that's the word from the Weather Service. I concur with that. I think we're looking at a weakening line of showers and thunderstorms. You know, thunder and lightning, certainly. Some gusty winds, absolutely, and a small spin-up tornado is certainly possible, but not likely, and I don't think that we would see anything like these long-lived serious storms that we're seeing up there around Memphis at this hour. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. Yeah, NOAA weather radios make great gifts for any occasion, actually. I mean, I hadn't thought about giving it as a wedding gift, but that's a pretty good idea. Christmas, I started to do it last year, but there was a shortage of those radios around Christmas last year. But this coming year, if the supplies has come back, and I think it is coming back, that's what everybody that belongs to me is going to get for Christmas. That's exactly right. So we're going to continue to monitor this situation throughout the night. And like I said, I'll come back and give updates as necessary. And, of course, if we have severe weather that actually starts to threaten East Alabama and West Georgia, I certainly will be here and provide wall-to-wall coverage for you throughout the duration. Again, I see someone's posting, what did I miss? Let me recap real quick one more time. Devastating weather system moving across the Memphis and points north this evening. We've got massive tornado damage. Lots of damage and injuries and even fatalities have already been reported this evening. And I know that a lot of you have been watching this on television, so your concern is we're going to get the same thing here in East Alabama and West Georgia. And the short answer to that is I don't think so. We should be looking at a weakening line of thunderstorms when that line moves through East Alabama and West Georgia sometime after about 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. Will we see some thunder and lightning and maybe some gusty winds? Yeah, I think so. And even a quick spin-up tornado will be possible. But I don't think we're looking at the long-lived violent tornadoes that we're seeing out there around Memphis at this hour. So that's the deal. And again, I'll come back and update you as conditions warrant. And of course, the moment we start to have severe weather threaten us across East Alabama and West Georgia, a watch is issued or something along those lines, then I'll be right back with live wall-to-wall coverage. Can you explain power lines down and what to do? Stay away from them. Don't go anywhere near a power line that's laying across the ground. You don't know if it's live. You don't know if it's still hot, and it can look like it's dead and all of a sudden start dancing. So the best advice I can give you is if you see a power line laying on the ground, go in the other direction. Thank you, Melissa. Appreciate that. All right, folks, we're going to step aside, watch this, and I'll be back with you as soon as conditions warrant here on Dr. Don's Weather.